Hey team, welcome back to my channel. Before I begin looking at this SQL statement, I tested this to work in 14, 15, and 16. This right here is using PostgreSQL. The code for this video is available on my GitHub account. See where it says PostgreSQL shorts resources. And then look for row to json.sql. Here's all the source code for this video. Just click on the copy and you have it available. Paste it into your program environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to create two tables. Notice I'm using the keywords temporary table. All that means is when I hit this X button, all of this goes away. So no tables will be left behind. So here we're going to create our main table called territory group. And then we're going to create our second table called territories. Now we're looking at just data. Notice in territory group, we got north, south, east, and west. And then for our territories, notice that we just are looking at each territory and putting in some kind of value. When I do this SQL statement, select star from territory group, the data looks like this. We got two columns and we've got our group ID and group name. Kind of like looks like line 58 to 61, okay? But now when I say row to JSON, I want you to remember what this looked like. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a pattern that looks like this, and all this is key value. And this is our JSON. Row to JSON, it just creates a JSON object. And of course it's delineated by this right here is called the key, and that is the value. Hope that makes sense. All right, let's look at something a little bit more complicated. So here we're going to create all rows from a subquery. Select group ID, group name from territory group. But notice now I'm wrapping it up and I'm putting that into this C. See how I say alias as that is C? So let's go ahead and execute that. And then we're back to key value. Okay, cool. Well, here it's the same statement. We just added a where clause. Nothing spectacular there. And this is another statement. And here you can just see I'm making a little bit more complicated subquery. Here I'm doing a left join. And notice that my C now spans two tables. So key value over two tables. And here I'm just doing a where and and clause. No tricks here. You should already know this. Now is where it gets kind of interesting. Before we examine line 111, let's look at row to JSON, the output. And you can see here that we have key value. You see that? And that is this part of this statement. So line 107, 108 is using that one. But then we're using the function JSON aggregate. Now, when you hear the word aggregate, you have to know that it's going to roll it up all into one. And how we do that is just wrap this data into this, and that will make us an array of JSON objects. Let's execute that. And notice just one row. And notice the brackets on the begin and end. And then here is our object in between. And we have key value. We have an array of them separated by comma. I think you get it. Here is a more complicated statement. I just showed you what this statement right here does. That's this one right here. Let's see how we can use JSON build object. JSON build object, another function that will take key value. But on territories, notice that we're using that aggregate. Now, whenever we use an aggregate function like this, you always have to say group by. So let's go ahead and execute that. And let's see what happens here. So here you can see that when I'm building an object, I get group ID, key value. But look at this last key. The key is territories, but the value is an array of objects. Does that make sense? Here, it's just a little bit more complicated. You know, I'm using your JSON build object. You already understand what JSON aggregate does. You know that when I use JSON aggregate, I have to say group by. I can execute this statement all by itself. Go ahead and execute that. And notice that we've got our group ID, and then I have an array of objects, JSON objects. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to row to JSON. So pretty much I'm just going to add these two together. That's all it means. Execute that, and there it is. Pretty nice. That's all I have, team. If you have any questions or comments about this video, please leave your comments below. If you have experience using this function or any of these other functions and would like to make a comment about those as well, I'd appreciate that. Look forward to seeing you back in my next video. Take care.